Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 41st, dear heaven, episode of Tales of Tamriel. I am your host, Aggelos, and with me this evening, she who was born under the sign of the shadow scale in a Breton's body, Thais. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well,
Yeah, it's a good day. Yeah.
it's a good day?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
So you like your introduction?
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it fit since, we finally got you that,
The Dark Brotherhood hoodie
uh-huh.
off the Bethesda store. So excited.
They had a sale, and I had some money on our PayPal account, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, I should buy something. Hers was down to like $45, and they had the Anduin's Wall hoodie for like 15. So I'm like, screw it, I bought them both. So that's what happened. So now you finally got that.
Yes, and there will be a picture up on Twitter.
Twitter.
Yes, of me in my awesome hoodie.
Excellent. All right. Also joining us, the man running the stream and he who dances with devs, Deltia of Deltia's Gaming. How are you doing today, good sir?
Oh, it's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive, people.
For some odd reason, all I could picture when you said that was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I'm like, oh my.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood. That's about creepy, right?
Hi, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor.
Here.
The bald hair,
and
the bald head.
joining us again is Pinello, because she's on my desk. Hello, Khajiit.
No, she's not allowed to be on the
Aw,
show.
she really wants to be on the show.
No, she's not.
All right.
She's our worst cat.
I told you, I'm gonna make one of my mule tunes a Khajiit that looks like her. She's gonna carry all my stuff. It'll be great.
And then she's gonna pee on everybody, scratch all your
Well,
stuff.
that's how she marks it all.
Sell it to vendors.
No, she wouldn't do that. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, before this really starts going off the tracks again, we got a lot of news to go over and a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week. So we're going to move right on into the game news. First up on game news, probably the single worst Loremaster archive they've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I know, you and TS Fangirl, even though she's not in the chat right now because she sent me a message, not going to be here today, are sending me death threats at this point. But there was a Loremaster archive, Clive, and it's from Argonian to Saxhleel. So, yeah. Why are you so excited about that, Thais?
Because I love Argonians.
I see.
So much. Like, just so much. If I could morph into an Argonian in real life, I really would.
I see. Well, in today's issue, Zos... hello, Pinello again. Hi. She really wants to be part of the show.
I don't care.
Okay, she's got to move. They'll be delving into recent history of Argonians, unlikely allies to the Dunmer and the Nords in the Ebonheart Pact. Vice Canon...
Hate to mean.
Huh? We ran into her in the Black Marsh storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
The author also agreed to answer some of your questions about the mysterious race from Black Marsh.
Well, you're gonna have to speak up if you want anyone to hear that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right.
You didn't finish the sentence.
I know, but if you're gonna take over, you got to speak up loud enough to actually be heard. All right. Why don't we go ahead and go over this real quick? There's one little storybook right here from Argonian to Saxhleel, and then we'll go into the little Q&A. So go ahead, Thais.
Misunderstanding and oppression have poisoned Black Marsh for centuries. My egg siblings have endured subjugation by the Empire and slavery at the hands of the Dunmer. Armored boots tread on our traditions and culture. We are fortunate to have the marsh. Without its perils to deter hapless dryskins, our ways might have already crumbled to dust. Despite our troubles, the Hist guides us still. And for the first time in memory, we have the chance to break the cycle. I spent my young life as a slave, an angry one. It cannot have been easy to become recognized for cruelty among the tyrants of House Dress. But Councilman Glathis Dress managed it. After I was beaten to unconsciousness for seating the guests at the banquet out of order, I could take no more. When I was able to work the sultry fields again, I waited for an opening, overwhelmed the drunken guards, and escaped with my fellow slaves. We fled into the thorn marsh. When we crossed paths with a troop of Argonians, we realized too late they were traitors. Arcane tribe scum in the employ of House Dress. Hungry and exhausted, we were easy to capture. The sun abandoned my sky. Looking back, though, I see the subtle work of the Hist's will. In the Arcane village, a vision came to me. Their history spoke, showing me blood and horror, the Akaviri invasion, Nords and Dunmer falling like dead leaves. This was an opportunity, a turning point, but how could I take advantage? We were taken back to Thorn, now nearly empty as the Dunmer answered Almalexia's call to battle. For my transgression, I was to be whipped by Glathis himself. In the courtyard, Glathis struck his first lash. I grabbed his whip and strangled him with it. I'll never forget the look he gave me as the light drained from his eyes. Wasting no time, I challenged the Centaurian of the Arcane Guards for her position by right of combat. She could not refuse and maintain any respect from her cohort. The duel was brief. I assumed command and advanced on Stormhold to do the same there. I am thankful that I did not need to shed any further Saxhleel blood. Walks and Ash, who met us as we approached, was able to convince Stormhold's Shellbacks to join our command. I revealed my plan. We would march to Morrowind, into Stonefalls, and engage in battle with the Akaviri. We would defend the Dunmer and turn the tide. To say some disagreed with my strategy would be quite an understatement. I told of my vision from the Hist, and let any who wished to return to the marsh do so. Still strong in numbers, we marched. When we arrived in the chaos of battle, there was fear on the faces of the Dunmer, who saw armed slaves charging towards them. The fear turned to shock as we joined their ranks, our shellbacks providing enough muscle to overpower the invaders and force them to flee. And now we are recognized. We have allies, not overlords, for the first time in memory. We are free under the law, and we are taking back our villages and strengthening our traditions. There is still bitter blood flowing between many Saxhleel and our new allies, and not every tribe has joined us. Only those of Thornmarch, Shadowfen, and Murkmire. This is not a surprise. I hope that they will, in time, and realize that this opportunity we have been given to cultivate the understanding will allow us to preserve our way of life. Almost made me cry.
Really?
I love the Argonians.
Love the Argonians, huh?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, hate to mean is how you pronounce that, answers your question. So, Vice Cannon, hate to mean. Last time I was in Shadowfen, I was forced to leave before you could tell me about the ancient stone ruins of our ancestors. While the dry skin races try to make it seem that the Saxhleel are unable to create such works, we are undeniably the builders. What happened that our people stopped building the Zanmirs of old, the ones in our legends that now lay in ruin?
Alas, egg sibling, I myself am no scholar, having been raised as a house slave by the dress, and since the Liberation War I have been too busy with the affairs of today to pay attention to the affairs of ages gone by. However, I understand from the Vice Canon of Gideon that others are as curious as you, and Saxhleel researchers in Murkmire are delving into exactly this question. Perhaps when the roads to Murkmire open after the monsoons, you will be able to journey there yourself and find out what they have learned. Until then, stay moist.
Stay moist, my
Does
friends.
anyone remember the QuakeCon where they showed us the next adventure zone? What was the name of that again? I think it was Murkmire.
Really?
Yeah. If you go back and watch the QuakeCon episode, they already showed us some of the concept art and everything. So this was a an in-character response to them saying, wait until Murkmire, the new adventure zone, comes out. Then we'll explain a little bit more about the Zanmirs. That's what it was. Back in the QuakeCon, they talked. As soon as I read that, I'm like, They did a little lore. I love how they do these. The lore answers because they're in character, but pretty much they made it seem like Murkmire was inaccessible because of whatever reasons. They're like, once the roads are open, aka when Murkmire drops in a patch, maybe then you'll find out about the Zanmirs. So yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, that is the next confirmed. One of the next confirmed adventure zones, I guess, would be Murkmire. So excited! Yay! All right, next question. I want to understand the connection between Argonians and the histories. Oh my! Do you have rituals or prayers to these trees? How do the Hist influence your lives? What does it feel like to stand before these conscious trees?
Love the Argonians. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is a difficult question to answer in tongue words, especially since, like most of our people, I do not worship entities of a so-called divine nature, and don't understand the feelings and behavior of those who do. Since neither of us comprehends the inner mind of the other, how are we to find a mutually meaningful analogy? But I will try. We have rituals, of course, for rituals are the mud that holds together the house of society. But we do not pray to the Hist, because our thoughts and desires flow together. The Hist is the river, and we Saxhleel are the standing waves where the river flows over rocks. That is clear, is it not?
More or less, the way they're talking is it's almost like a hive mind mentality. So that when they're talking about the histories, they refer to them, especially if you've been in game, they refer to the trees as holding the memory of their ancestors because when they die, all their memories and all their experiences return to the Hist and then are able to be felt by others in the society. We've done that several times doing the quest. Remember how we went on a hippie little ingested the Hiss sap and went through
That's what you call
of
it.
the past Hiss. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But they talk hive
It's
mind.
a symbiotic relationship that is always happening. They don't need to stop and pray because they are connection.
This is a little. It's not really off topic. We're talking lore here. If anyone's read the two novels by Greg Keyes,
Yes.
yeah, you'll remember one of the main characters is an Argonian, and when he's in Umbra, he talks about feeling disconnected from the Hiss because he can no longer hear
Feel
them
it,
speak.
yeah. I didn't like those books, to be honest with you. I think they need more books. I know they're coming out with those Titan books. I don't know if it's going to be the same type of thing.
I would like more novels myself.
Yeah,
more
I wasn't
stories.
personally. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for everyone else, but the one book where they're up on the rock and stuff, wasn't that good.
It didn't feel Elder
It
Scrolls.
didn't.
I know
It
what you're
just was.
saying.
It was just like this isn't Elder Scrolls.
That's
Anyways,
the first one did. The second one
I did like the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of jumped around when they started talking about it, and like when King Crown Prince Atropus goes to, I think it was Solstheim, he talks about that. In certain parts, it felt Elder Scrollsies, in other way, it didn't. But I would really love to see more because they seem to do so much with this and with how much lore and everything they have. I would love to see novels.
Now with
like,
is that the Titan books? Is that telling the stories of the games? Is that correct?
I think it's more of an encyclopedia kind of thing.
It's more of like this is the game, this is the world, the time frame versus like telling the story like a novel sense.
Yeah, it's not a novel. It's almost like a textbook. Whereas it'll talk about like, it'll show the Nords for like the races, and then it will go through their history, like where they have it. So it's like a textbook, but it's not a narrative. So I would love to see. What would be really really neat to see is because of such a great history. It'd be great to see maybe novelizations of some of the heroes that we run into, such as Hatamine, like what happened to her beforehand. Like this little story she wrote would have been great as like a prequel novel. I would love to read it. But, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of neat. All right. Hey, I know this person. I have always been fascinated by the Saxhleel's perception of time. Oh my goodness, these guys really are you.
Yeah, Yep.
Because there is no time. It's just there.
Yep, exactly.
It's said that you see your entire lives as a single moment. Can you explain how this worked? You really did pick the wrong race, didn't you? Did you not look to the future and reminisce of the past? And that's from the human Floyd. So shout out to him. He's part of that ESORP crew. I see him a lot on there.
You humans often depict time as a series of events, as a story or narrative. This seems to us a strangely narrow way to look at it, skewing your thinking into curiously flawed patterns of repetition. We do not see time as a line from past to future, but rather like the broad wave that sweeps across the sand as the tide comes in, or like the line of storms that crosses the marsh during the monsoons. Cause and effect are not separate. They are a single event, regardless of the duration between the event's denser nodes. How could it be otherwise?
Talking in circles, you Argonians.
I love it. How do you not get that? It's clear as day.
Anyway, I've heard Argonians have amazing regenerative properties. If an Argonian limb is severed, will it grow back?
Oh my gosh. I erect the spine of baffled incredulity. Where do you humans come by these notions? Wax hoothy.
Nice.
Did he have to use the word erect?
Yes,
You know
he had
what?
to.
I will say this is kind of it's a family show, but if you're playing ESO, you know it's a mature game. Remember when you're talking for the pledges, you talk to the one red guard? Oh, come on. And she pretty much, after you say, she's like, you made it back? And she says the name, like, Muthatha's...
Oh, by Muthatha's right tit.
Yes. That's, like, the
Like,
best.
she cursed, and, like, that was her curse, and it was just really, really funny.
It cracked me up.
So now, whenever Ag has to curse when he's playing ESO, that's what he says.
Yeah, Muthatha's right tit. That's what I say.
Yep.
All right, well, that was the Loremaster's Archive from Argonian to Saxhleel.
I'm playing the wrong race.
You really are.
Argonians are awesome.
All right. What are awesome?
I love Argonians in this game. They are awesome.
She didn't like him at first because she only saw him in Skyrim, and she's like, I don't want to be a Khajiit. I don't want to be...
Because the Khajiit are the drug addicts.
I love
Not
my
to them.
Khajiit, dude. My Khajiit's a
Technically
freak of
speaking,
nature.
moon sugar, they can eat unrefined moon sugar, which is poisonous to everyone else. It's part of like their daily diet. It's like a ritual.
They got to get turned up.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. But now that I know about all the lore with the Argonians, and because I'm a tree-hugging hippie and they're tree-hugging hippies, I love them.
I said to her, if she was ever an Argonian, every time we walked into a new zone, I'd have to put her on suicide watch because she'd be like, I will sacrifice myself for the... I'm like, there's nothing wrong.
Suicide
There's a
watch.
branch that's broken. I'm like, it's fine. That's what would happen.
That's our little Thais. She's back.
Yep, I will
She's back
sacrifice
hugging
myself
trees.
for the land. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes. All right, moving on to the next bit of news, the Tamriel Chronicle Issue number 73. I haven't been covering these lately because naturally they're just a kind of a giant, you know. I
What?
guess they cover all the stuff that was
We're on
done
'em.
by the community.
We're
What was
on
that?
them. We're on them.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot. So you need
Yeah.
to pay attention to these. They do great.
I know. Well, I always look at them,
Backlinks.
but
Hashtag
I don't really-
backlinks.
I was gonna say, actually, between you and us,
It's like, are we the only people covering this game? Or
it
Come on,
seems
baby.
like it,
Come on,
'cause
this is good.
We're probably 50% of the entire thing is just us.
Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that, but I mean,
I would say if we had to do a majority, it would be us. All right. Well, anyway, some of the fan art on here is super neat. I actually want to touch on this because I saw this one piece, Crowswood, acrylic on canvas. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous.
yeah, there was some that were ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. And I love the Crowswood. It's one of my favorite public dungeons.
And
It-
that is not easy.
That
Oh,
one
yeah.
is actually pretty difficult. I got smoked in there thinking I was just going to go run in and nuke everything like usual and turn VR1. That's the first zone you go into, and I just got nuked. And I was like, that was humbling.
I did not mean the difficulty of
Oh.
the dungeon. I meant using acrylic paint on
Ah.
canvas. Like, that takes a lot of skill.
I know what you mean, Deltia. But
I'm
the
just gonna
atmosphere
shut
in
up.
that dungeon alone is one of my favorites. Yeah, absolutely. I love the talking crows. They crack me up.
I love the crow. Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. Love it. That's one of my favorites. Interesting. Daughter of Kine. I don't know how that's really lore friendly. I didn't know there were daughters of Kine, but that's okay. Again, some really neat art from Dunmer. I like that one.
Is that supposed to be
Is that supposed to be what?
the guy, that rogue guy? Is that who it looks like?
That road guy?
The rogue.
Oh,
The rogue guy. I can't think of his name.
I don't know. He's wearing heavy armor.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Jakarn?
Yeah, that guy.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Never
No.
mind.
Anyway. And one of my favorites, this one down here, is T. If you guys haven't seen it, I thought it was kind of neat. But it kind of looks like one of our cats hiding in the blanket because it's a Khajiit. But in any case, there's a lot of talented people in the ESO community. And I'm going to say this. I'm a little disappointed because these used to be massive. Like, before the game came out, these Tamriel Chronicles were like 12 pages long. And now they're starting to get down and down. And it kind of upsets me. I'd like to see some more people get involved in the community. So if you have an idea, go out and do it. If you need some help, talk to myself, or I'm sure Deltia. We would love to help you. I kind of sprung this on Deltia, but I would love to see more people get involved in the community. So if you got questions, I'm more than willing to help however I can. So let me know. I would love to see more people than just Deltia's Gaming and Tales of Tamriel on this list. There are some others. But.
I mean, it's just, this is such a good game, and that's why I kind of tell everyone about it, because I want more people to play it. And I think once consoles hit, if they do ever, that's going to be the shot in the arm for this game. I think that's really... Sure. You always see all the comments, and I just can't wait for people on consoles to get this game. I'll never play it on consoles, but... Gosh, imagine if you had this, couldn't afford a big-time PC and this, that, and the other. This would be a juggernaut game, It would.
Yeah. Well, that's why so many people, I will say this, still play, like, World of Warcraft, because the graphics are 10 years old. It can run on older machines, so you don't need a beast.
They do that on purpose, right? Look at StarCraft and all of those games. They're trivial graphics, but...
You can literally go out and buy a $400 PC from Walmart and it will run. You couldn't do that with this game because it's gorgeous.
I love it. Keep it gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, me too. But definitely, of course, if you guys have ideas of something you want to do and you're just scared to jump off, talk to us. I would love to work with potential community members to get more things out there. So... Talk to me either in games, send us an email to either info@deltiasgaming or podcast@talesoftamriel.com. Say, hey, I have an idea, but I don't know how to get started. We would love to help. We really would.
And if you guys want to post builds and stuff, Tamriel Foundry is a really good source too, especially for talking. People have asked, why don't you start a forum or whatever on my site? Well, there's already a good one that exists, so there's room for everything in this community. Just be a part of it and grow together.
Absolutely. That's what I love about the community. Like, we're not really
competitive.
I wouldn't say not really. We're not. Yeah, we're not. We want to help each other. Like, I want to. It's sad to me when I see like a fellow podcast like pod fade or leave, because I'm like, but I like listening to them too.
Yeah.
I'm not in competition with ESOTR or TSOcast. I talk to those guys almost in-game weekly basis. I'm like, hey guys, we love working together. And that's how this entire community is. So if you have an idea of something maybe you want to try and get out there to promote this awesome game, let us know. We'll definitely help.
Rocket Revenger 86, PC Master Race forever. I agree with you.
I agree with you as well, man. But I've been a PC gamer for years.
I've been PC all my life.
Yeah. Oh, my first console was a Nintendo. That was the only console I had until I got a PC.
All right, we're not gonna date ourselves here with endless stories about who's the older gamer, because that'll be a 5-hour podcast.
Yeah, well. All right, we're gonna move on. Cute, Squishy, and Pinchy. Oh yeah, gotta love the Elder Scrolls Online swag. Okay, guys over at Gaming Heads have done it again, and now you can get a Mud Crab plushie. which is pretty awesome, actually. It's actually pretty big from what I've seen.
Did you order it?
What do you say?
Did you order yours, Ag? Or you're not gonna?
Yes.
Oh.
I ordered some.
Was I not supposed to? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a secret. It was supposed to get here, and she wasn't supposed to.
You got me one.
I did get you.
Oh, spoiler!
Oh, that's so awesome! I love you.
Oh my god!
I got you a mud crab plushie. So.
I was sitting here. You pulled up the page like I want one so bad. Oh yay!
I love supporting ESO, and so I'm like, hey, there we go. Anyway. It also comes with an in-game code for another vanity pet, which, again, maybe now knowing that they're coming out with the UI to add all of our pets, I'm a little bit more willing to buy the swag, because then I can hold the pets in-game without eating my bank space. So that's why. But the pet we're getting is called the, what is that, Rufus?
Rufus.
Yeah,
Rufus.
Mud Crab. Now, this is one they actually sent out by air, I think, when the game first launched.
Yeah, I think I have one. I thought.
Well, I have a mud crab too, but they sent out one. Like, they did it wrong because this one was. I guess they had the monkey, which they sent out for everyone who beta tested, and then when the game launched, they sent out this mud crab, and then if you had the collector's edition, anyone who was in beta also got this mud crab, and then you also got the mud crab from the collector's edition, the Imperial edition. But I think they actually took this one back out because it wasn't meant to actually go out. And now we know why. So,
well,
sweet!
What about the real pet? Come on, tell them about our dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, we sort of got the Nord figurine so we could have the dog.
The dog is sick. I got to go on a rant here. This is awesome. You get on your horse, and the dog doesn't like just disappear and like randomly spawn somewhere. The cute little Shaggy trails behind you. How cool is that? Right?
It is pretty cool.
It's sick. I love it.
Do you have your sounds turned up real loud, Deltia?
I don't think so. Why is people listening?
When you fight, he barks.
No.
Yeah, he does.
Wow, that's
when
awesome.
When you're fighting, I hear him in the background barking.
Get him.
No, you have the Scrib pet.
Get him, Shaggy. That's what I called him.
That's not fair. I need a Nord figurine. I want a doggy. I was like, you want a dog.
Okay.
You give her one thing. She wants to, give her an inch. She'll take a mile type thing.
At least I have ideas for Christmas. That's, that's what I'm just going to get her. Speaking of mini pets, moving on to the next bit of news, they're now presenting the 6-month loyalty reward, and I think this is kind of neat. Coming out with another pet, for those who've been adventuring in Tamriel for at least 6 months, will receive a new loyalty reward. In September, they will begin awarding everyone who's reached 3 months of subscription with the High Rothkar pet, and those who've added 6 months will now get another fun nanity pet, the Dwemer Sphere.
He looks gigantic, too.
He does.
Is that a
so
fat
if you've
joke?
ever been in... What was that, Deltia?
Is that a fat joke?
That
was kind of late, sorry.
Well, if anyone's been in a Dwemer Rune lately, and I'm like, wait, everyone's been in Dwemer Rune lately because of all the Dwemer motifs. You've probably seen these Dwemer spheres running around. They're kind of annoying. They shoot you with crossbows. Now you'll have one to follow around. Or if you watch any of Deltia's videos, his random item set randomly pops one out of the ground from time to time.
Oh, what? It's awesome, dude. That thing is amazing. And if you watch ESOLive, could have saw it.
Perfect segue. ESOLive happened on Friday. That would have been November 11th or 7th. Dear heaven, 11th. I'm all over here on my calendar days. So November 11th. 7th.
November 11th
because
like
I see it
Veterans Day.
Okay, stop it. ESOLive happened, and Deltia, why don't you tell us a little bit about something special that happened on ESOLive?
Well, I mean, I got to play with the developers and stuff, and test out the new Don Dante pledges and so forth with Aloha, and oh my god, it was awesome. It was so much fun, and I mean, when you go do a stream and you're playing and talking, it's one thing, but trying to put on a show and doing it, it's actually quite hard. And the developers were like, I got a respect for these streamers that, have to play and talk all the time. So It was really cool. I mean, they're just like us. They're regular gamers, and they're excited when we get a kick out of the content, especially like that Dwemer helm that I have. Man, we were just going bananas when we got that because it looks so awesome, you know. So, as far as the content in ESOLive, I was in TeamSpeak, you know, prepping for the show type thing, so I don't have all the details because it was kind of a blur, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to be able to play, and I hope it's popular. I hope people like that, because I mean, whether it's me or someone else doing it again, I mean, who else does that? You get to play with the developers. I mean, come on, that is amazing. So
I can't help but remember watching the thing, and the one developer, I forget who he was taunting the other developer, going, "I can't help but notice how scared you are sitting there playing a caster while I'm up here with the stamina build."
yeah. And the cool part is, I mean, we died, and you know, it just shows you that the stuff in here is hard. It's not even the developers were going to die. You're going to make mistakes. You're human, and that could be a two-piece thing. It could be either good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But for me, it's not just click 4 buttons and the game's over. I really like the content, and I know we're going to get into it later, but they revitalized this game.
Yeah, ESOLive happens every other Friday, so if you don't get a chance, you should go out and take a look. I mean, it's a cool show regardless. Sometimes they drop spoiler kind of stuff for us of, you know, little things to look forward to, which is always exciting, so you should go just for that. They do giveaways. I think what did they give away this week?
They gave a bunch of stuff away. They gave a mud crab.
They did the mud crab. Yeah. They actually did the mud crab.
I forget what the last one was. The
last one was a random assortment of stuff, like an ESO dog tag. I remember that.
One time they gave away signed copies of like all the development team and
that
stuff.
Was last week. Yeah,
that was sick.
Or the last one, episode 4. That one was sick. I was sad I didn't win it.
So yeah, I mean, that's just super humbling. I mean, I love Aloha. She just, you know, was kind of the polar opposite of me, and it was nice to have her on, kind of show that, you know, you can heal and still be effective doing different things. I mean, is she gonna be the best healer in the game doing Sword and Shield? I don't know, maybe. So the game's open. It's not just your typical cookie cutter. You only do one thing and that's successful. So it was cool to show different builds and melee and stamina. And we had every class on there, so it was fun.
Absolutely.
I do give a lot of props to anybody who can stream and talk at the same time, because I know that as soon as I would start talking, I'd stop moving my character until I was finished talking, and then I'd be able to start again.
Even if our connection was good enough that we could stream, I think I would still need Deltia to stream, because I don't think I could run the show and do the stream at the same time, because I'm over here, you know, making the show move forward by reading the notes or sometimes taking the show completely off course. I don't think I could do that and stream at the same time.
Nope.
Couldn't do it.
It's hard. I mean, it just takes practice like doing anything. And when we were competitive PvP, we would have nights where we'd force ourselves to talk, where it was open mic, you had to be in Skype, and then we just practice. We're going to communicate. And that really got me good at it, so you can communicate and still game. But it's a hard skill.
Nice. All right, we're going to end our game news with that, and we're going to move on to our Elder Scrolls discussion topic, which is Update 5, Werewolves Everywhere. Before we get into anything, oh my goodness, there are so many furry beasts running around. Just saying.
There's no downside to being a werewolf now. You got to be a werewolf.
Other than the poison damage.
Nope.
But other than
the poison
Sanctum...
damage only affects you when you're in werewolf form. Straight from the developer's mouse on ESOLive.
Really?
Yep. The guy who developed that mechanic told me that when I was a werewolf when we did Fungal Grotto earlier in the day.
Well, right there, that's awesome.
So,
albeit, I think that should probably be changed.
And it should be Java Who in the chat rooms in here. She tested it out on Fungal Grotto, tested the stamina regeneration and the poison damage. So there's no disincentive to be a werewolf, essentially. I mean, it's a lot overpowered. 15% stamina regeneration. Mm-hmm. Wow, everyone needs stamina. Dodge, roll, sprint, block. I mean, if you're not a vamp, be a werewolf.
Sure.
Team Jacob.
Team Jacob. Yes, Team Jacob. Should I just stay a werewolf then?
I mean, I would. What's the disincentive? I mean,
there's really none other than having the, if you really want to roleplay it, you don't want to be a werewolf. But other than that, as you said before, being a vampire hurt because of the damage. As of right now, I personally think they should fix that.
Yeah,
Because
it's out of control.
yeah,
It's
you
out of
should
control.
take the poison damage all the time.
So you're saying for vampires, like reduce the fire damage that you take, like
No,
the
no,
extra
no.
fire damage.
No,
you
that
take?
should stay, but they need to make it so that werewolves only take the extra poison damage when they're in their werewolf form.
Which basically no one does. Essentially,
Yeah, because it's not near as good as your normal stuff, but by just even having it passively done, you get an ultimate generator, you get stamina now, regeneration,
they-
Okay, I agree with that then.
but no negatives to doing it. So you take it, as long as you don't go into werewolf, you get ultimate gain and stamina regeneration for just having it.
yeah, for tanking, it's I mean, incredible benefit. I really only use one ultimate, so think about 6 ultimate every 3 seconds taking damage as a tank. I mean, I'm dropping 2 standards a fight like you saw on ESOLive. I mean, they're like, what? How are you? They asked me. They go, how are you doing so much ultimate? I go hashtag Team Jacob, bro.
Now, riddle me this, Deltia. I was almost positive that the poison damage did affect you before, even in human form.
I thought so too. And so we were doing Fungal Grotto, and I said, yeah, I'm a werewolf, and I have that passive. And I go, but I do have the poison enchant on my jewelry. And he goes, well, that only affects you in werewolf form. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. I go, oh, okay. And he said the same thing on ESOLive, so I'm not saying any behind-the-scenes stuff here.
Sure.
And I don't know if that was a change because it wasn't in the patch notes. I don't know. Did everyone just assume that was the case and didn't test it? Or
Well, here's the thing. There's not near as much poison damage as in the game as there is fire.
oh, that
I mean-
yeah, everything's fire.
I mean, they don't have a poison staff. So,
they have
it-
poison enchants. PvP it was a concern because they had a lot of poison enchants. They have venom arrow, lethal arrow, the bows. But in PvE, yeah, until like the round 3 of veteran Dragonstar Arena, it's not really a
and
factor.
Sanctum
Yeah.
Ophinio or whatever it is. Yeah. There's
So-
no poison damage in the game other than those 2 places.
And if you don't believe me, check it out, test it. It's worth doing. I mean, the werewolf itself, I don't transform into it very often. I mean, it looks incredible, but it's just the passives are awesome. I mean, God, if you're a tank, do it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
awesome. And the quest is really cool. The Hercene Shrine, I think they did a real good job on Werewolf. And I think they overbuffed it a little bit. Just like you, they really need to have a disincentive. I think they hit
Well, the whole
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the whole idea when they first originated and concepted these things was they were supposed to feel super powerful, but they were supposed to have hard counters that made you do the risk versus reward. Going, I feel super powerful when I'm in these forms, but
Risk reward.
there's
right.
a negative for doing it. Like great power comes great danger. Apparently,
Yeah.
but with the werewolf, how it is now, you get all those super passives without needing anything.
They'll fix it. I mean, and even if with the poison damage, I mean, I think for me, I don't really do trials, and especially the big dog one.
Sure.
I may not do it for quite some time, so I can get through round 3 of Vet Dragonstar Arena as the tank, I think, and I'm not really worried about that. So I would still stick with it on my tank.
There's
My
not
tank,
near
anyways.
as much.
Yeah.
Not near as much poison in the game as there is fire.
I think I might just be staying werewolf. I have all kinds of extra skill
I've already
points.
cleared mine, but I'll make Kypster or someone bite me again.
He'll bite
Ravage
you.
me. Random, but I think it's kind of neat. I think they should remove the restriction to bite people anywhere.
But
Like you should be able to bite someone anywhere.
Just like run up to some random
Yeah,
person
yeah.
and like chomp
people
on
are
the
gonna
neck.
troll you, dude.
Well,
That
it
wouldn't
doesn't-
be
Well,
fun.
here's the thing, though. You don't have to accept the quest. You get a debuff saying that you've been infected, and you're infected for however many days, like a week.
People are gonna
But-
troll other people with that.
Oh,
you
I'd
know?
be fine with that.
Yeah, until you're sitting there crafting a legendary item, and you just need to click one more thing to put another Druax in it, and then someone bites me, 7 Druax down the drain. How fun would that be?
They probably wouldn't kick you out of the stuff or would make you want
Uh huh.
All right, then they should restrict it to where it can't happen in towns and it can't
And-
happen in crafting locales in the world.
Oh, I don't mind if you're.
Because no one's gonna stop in the middle of a field and be like, I'm just gonna craft something. No one,
Well,
no one does that.
If you're not occupied in something like in an interface, it just shouldn't kick you out. But I like the idea of being able to be infected anywhere. But how many people are going to troll you? They can only do it like that's not even really an effective troll when you can only do it once a week. Why would you want to waste the bite just to troll someone?
People are people, dude. I mean, why do people say go kill yourself when you're bad at PvP? I mean, it's idiotic, but they'll find a way to make it miserable. I just would stay away from that.
I want to see it. I don't want to go out to those things anymore. Anyway, update 5. Let's talk a little bit about this again. What was your favorite thing from update 5 and what was your least favorite?
Let's see. Facial animations.
Okay.
Definitely enjoying those. I have 2 least favorites. One of them would be the Argonian facial animations because they didn't do it correctly. The
Argonians looked better with the puppet face because
with the animations they only made like the front section of the Argonians' mouths move. That's it, and it looks weird, and I'm not enjoying that. And my second least favorite thing is definitely the crafting dailies. They're just annoying me.
Honestly, I'll go next. I have 2 favorites, one of which is the pledges and the crafting dailies. And we'll talk about that a little bit here in a bit. My least favorites are the repentance bug. That kind of sucks. And, oh crud, I forgot what the other one was. Dear heaven. Deltia, how about you?
What was my favorite and least favorite thing?
Yep.
I mean, you've already heard me rant probably on other scrolls off the record about forward camps, and, we'll probably get to that. Yep. I mean, it has to be the dailies. Crafting writs, I absolutely adore. Even chat bubbles, I had no idea were kind of cool. I mean, I think we did, with a pretty good group, today we did, what was it, the daily, the non-vet one, and it was hard. I mean, we died. It was fun doing all those dungeons again and going, wow, they're actually challenging even for vet 14 fully geared characters. Now, that could be a two-sided sword when people don't have maybe a powerful group. They don't really know the fights very well. They may be struggling with it, but it revitalized a lot of content that otherwise was never getting seen. There's no purpose in running it, and it's a lot more fun now. I really enjoy the game. People are grouping. Now. It's not just an isolated game where everyone sits in their own area, picking Columbine, and everyone's typing in guild chat, hey, what, you guys done the dailies today? It just really transformed the game. I think this game would have been much more successful if this would have been earlier on implemented into it.
Sure. But and actually, it's not just even in guild. First thing I did was I logged in, and I went to Mournhold. All I saw was in trade chat was looking for X for daily pledge, looking for this for daily pledge. Like, it was great to see people going, hey, let's group up together,
Yep, that's how you meet people, and that's why I think dailies are great. And you're doing stuff that you would never have done anyways, so
sure,
that's great.
I remember my second thing, thanks to Kypster. The changing of the trial and Soul Reservoir from 36 to 72. I don't like it.
Yeah, but you don't...
No, I know I'm not even up to it yet.
Oh, in trials?
Yeah. The Serpent Trial originally had 36 deaths, which was essentially 3 full wipes of your group.
Now it's 5?
4? 9, I think.
Math?
9.
Okay.
And I don't like when people nerf content. Not this early. I'd be fine with it if there was a new trial out.
But the mechanics are still the same. I mean, it's still hard, right? I mean, they didn't change this guy hits less. I mean, you just have to res less. I mean, it's still hard. I mean, right?
I kind of agree with Delty on this one.
Part of the hard mechanic of trials, and this is one of the things I know Kypster and I were talking about, we were trying to go, why are the trials so short? Technically, the Serpent Trial has 2 bosses and 2 mini-bosses. That's it. But then again, they have no lockouts. So there's no way for you to save your progress throughout the week. Hopefully they institute something like that later. I know
5 hour
lockouts, but I would like the option of being able to extend going, okay, this is a 12-person fight or a 12-boss battle, and you can save your progress throughout a week. There's a reason I like those kind of stuff, because it allows you to create the bigger dungeons, not that you jump in and that's it, and then it doesn't really feel like a raid. Serpent Trial is difficult, but part of the difficulty behind it was the limited amount of times you could die. You know, that was part of the difficulty.
It's not like they made it 120. They just added so you could die 2 more times.
They added it so you could die 6 more times as an entire group. They've essentially...
But you just said it yourself. There's no lockout. So I think, I mean, who want... Yeah, I don't know. You want
There's no lockouts, but I would like the difficulty to be there and remain there.
But they didn't make it any easier. I mean, if you die, you die.
Yeah, the mechanics are the same.
They didn't nerf mechanics, but they technically Soul Reservoir is a type of mechanic, because when you run out, you have to start over. So say you down the first boss and you're making your way towards the last, you had to make sure that as you got better, you were perfect throughout it, because you had to go into it and try the boss with so many deaths. But now you don't have to. And I just, that's me personally, I don't like it. I had to give why I didn't like it, and that's why I don't.
But you're okay with crafting dailies being, like, impossible to complete?
They're not impossible to complete.
Impossible to complete? How so?
I picked up the crafting dailies, and I was...
Can you hold that thought? We'll move on to it. I don't want to jump around that much.
Okay.
All right. Okay, no, she's looking at me like that. Let's talk about crafting first. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. You keep going where you're going.
No, I just didn't want to jump all around because we're going to get to it. We'll start with the crafting writs. What is your crafting writ?
I picked them up. So I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be awesome, you know? Well, I didn't really think it was going to be awesome. Like, okay, I'll do this. Fine.
Wow.
So I picked them up, and, you know, I had them, and I'm getting ready to craft, and I pull up what I have to craft, and I'm like, wow, that is a lot of crap I have to make. And I didn't have mats for any of it. None of it. I had no mats for any of it. And I don't see how, because when I'm with you, I pick up everything. But I had nothing. Like the mats that I need to craft, we're not even in the zones that give those mats yet. So I can't craft anything. And it's not like they want one of something. One of them wanted like 4 items that are all made out of the same material that I have none of. How am I supposed to complete that? And all of them are the same. They all want you to craft multiples of whatever stupid item with tons of whatever stupid mat you're supposed to have.
All right.
So I dropped them all. I said, no.
All right, well, I'm going to say this. The crafting writs are designed for people who want to craft. You're a casual crafter. You're not out there farming. You pick stuff as you go.
Kypster just said in chat, the hoarder didn't have mats, which is just a horrible statement because I have mats. It's gotten so bad that I am vendoring stacks of mats. Because
that's why you don't have any.
but no, that's not it. Because the mats they're asking, I haven't gotten to where I can farm them. I don't have them.
Well, that's because we level slow.
Guild.
Technically speaking, because we level so slow, we would have been up there. Like, because, yeah, we're maxed out on our crafting. But if we had gone a little faster, we would have been in the zones to gather the materials before we had actually gotten maxed out.
Well, it's not the game's fault that you're not VR14, right? I mean, you have think about it. You have max level crafting, but you're not max level, right? So the problem is you can't get into the zone to get the stuff. Is that right? You can't get void steel.
Yeah.
Right. So go ahead.
I'm only up to ironweed. I can farm ironweed, but what the game is asking me to have, I don't have.
You can't get to.
But that's because we maxed out our crafting. The game literally goes, oh, well, since you're a master crafter, you've apparently had the materials to get this high.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
On that note, I have, like, every character has level 32 blacksmithing, woodworking, and clothing on my account because you get the hirelings. So I had this happen to me. I had 32 in my crafting or higher, but I only had 1 point in the actual line, the skill line. So blacksmithing, using the ingots, that determines where you get the materials from. So my guy who had level 50 blacksmithing on him, just a mule that only had 3 points into the outfitters, had to get iron ingots. My actual blacksmithing that had the hireling plus the 9 points into blacksmithing had to get the void steel. So I had to basically redo my crafting so my level 32 guy wasn't my main crafter. Because how is my level 32 going to get void steel?
Sure.
So I don't know if that helps at all, but that's kind of why it does that, or how it does it, I should say.
Any other mat I have tons of. I had to
Well-
vendor 8 stacks of galatite ingots.
Well, that's here. I'm going to say this as well. And this is a perfect example. You had to vendor. That was a problem before the crafting writs. Because before the crafting writs, like before update 5 hit, Deltia, you probably looked at the market. I know I did. A stack of void steel went for
Just
how much
above,
on a market?
I mean, it's just above vendor cost.
Just above,
yeah.
like 600 gold, and that was lucky. So after the taxes and stuff, or the auction house
Yeah,
cut,
just vendor it.
you got like 500, and it was 400 to a vendor. The higher end stuff was getting to the point where it wasn't worth it to keep. I mean, at one point, I had 9 stacks of void steel, 900 bars of void steel, and I had nothing to do with it. Now I've ripped through it. But with that being said, this is designed for people, like you said. We have lots of the lower mats because we spend so much time in each zone. Deltia rips through and probably picks 3 flowers. Well, he stops for every flower, but he only mines 3 nodes, and then he's done with the zone. You and I, if we actually took a metric of how many times we farm nodes, we would probably be in the upper percentile of hundreds of nodes gathered per zone rather than dozens. Yeah. So, yeah, we do tend to gather a lot, but crafting writs are designed as almost two things. One,
End game.
It is. It's a crafting end game. And it's also a mat dump, because what happens when the market becomes flooded with materials that no one really needs, such as void steel, it became vendor price.
Yep.
Look at Final Fantasy XIV. They had this all the time. Whenever you had mats that were so common, people are just like, yeah, they're selling it for vendor price. It's like, why don't you just vendor it then? It's like, seriously? But that's what was happening with our void steel market, because there was a lot of people up in the upper echelons of levels. Yeah, echelon, you like that? Huh?
So you said that word, but instead of saying measurement, you said metric.
Metric is a good word.
That's a terrible.
We've-
not even the correct word for that sentence.
Metric is. All right. Anyway, we've already discussed this. I can say difficult words, but simple words like the and stuff like that, I get confused from. But yeah, it's a mat dump because the market got so flooded with the high end mats because everyone's in Craglorn, everyone's mining stuff.
I can understand that. Okay, I get that. But that's just why I was upset. Because
Sure.
I gathered all that. I'm like, I'm just going to do this. And
If you
I
respec
got
and
rid of
only
them.
put 7 points in your blacksmithing, so you're up to Galatite, all your crafting writs would ask for that, just so you know.
well, now that I vendored all my galatite ingots, now I can't do that either.
Why would you
so-
vendor them? You should have sold them.
Because I had 8 stacks.
I know, but they were a lower level mat. Those actually didn't sell for vendor price.
At 400 gold a stack.
Yeah, but
that
you
was
could have
so
sold them
worth
on the
it.
guild store for like 800.
They never sell. They never sell.
Are you kidding? I'm selling mine also. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah, we're gonna have Elder Scrolls.
The economy
economy
edition, yeah.
theory someday.
But yeah, it's now here's the other thing. The crafting writs are also designed as a risk reward thing. Because when you hand them in, you get that little box. And I was telling Deltia this. When you open the box, you normally get crap. But there's a chance you'll get a rare drop called a surveying report. The surveying report takes you to an instanced area. It's not really instanced, but it's kind of, you go to an area and only you can mine the nodes. It's a high resource area. And they have higher amounts of items. Meaning, like, when you normally mine a node, you get 3 or 4 of an item. These things have 7 to 9 of an item, and there's like 12 of them in a small area. But here's another reward. Because the higher end ones are all in Upper Craglorn, I did 3 of them today. I did an enchanting one. Really only got enchanting runes. I did a woodworking one, got like 50 night wood in a single shot. I did blacksmithing. I got 60 void steel, 20 galatite, and like 20 quicksilver, and 5 fortified Nerncrux. That was awesome. Because I pretty much made myself a shield. I'm like, with the current prices of Nerncrux, I pretty much made 100k right there. Just from the Nerncrux. Because right now you can sell them for anywhere from like 15 to 20k for a Nern-honed item. That's how much it's kind of going for, is what I've been seeing people sell them for. So with one surveying report, I had 3 of them. So I had a 33% chance at that point, and I got 5 Nerncrux. I pretty much made 100,000 gold just from that. So yeah, I did probably use 100 void steel, but in the long run, I think I made out. But then again, just like the other surveying reports, I got nothing. It's a risk, but
it's not for everyone. I mean, just like I think Robert in the chat room saying, it's not for everyone, but it's really valuable for someone that looks for things to do crafting wise. So
I was gonna give it a try. I was prepared.
Next time, once you, again, we're technically not at endgame yet. Wait till you're VR14 and swimming in void steel, and then start doing the crafting mats. Then you're just like, it's
fun. Yeah, I like it.
The pledges I did enjoy, though.
That's what we're moving on next. Perfect. Pledges. I love the pledges. And as much as this is kind of controversial, let's talk about it a little bit. Dungeon scaling, I think, is fantastic. I love it. I like difficult content, though. Deltia, what did you feel about pledges and dungeon scaling?
Well, I mean, my initial gut reaction, obviously I sometimes, gut reaction thing is not good. And so initially, I wish there was a mechanic where you could turn it off if you wanted to. Because I think while it's fun and engaging and makes older content fresh and exciting, and I can do it, and I can find a good group that can nuke things, not everyone can. And trying to pug it mid-afternoon when my friends aren't online is absolutely miserable, and I won't do it.
Can I interject something here?
Sure.
I'm fine with the ability to turn it off, but there needs to be a penalty for doing so. I think
Which is
level your level
yes,
down. Or,
exactly. So,
like, if you don't do the thing, let's say this, if you don't do the level scaling, and it goes back down to a normal level, you should be, even if you finish everything, you shouldn't be able to get a gold key. Maybe you'll only be able to get a silver or whatever the case may be.
Well, here's the solution. Just make it if you turn it off, you don't get the Undaunted done, but you can complete the thing, So Banished Cells was intended for vet 1 through 3 or whatever that might be. So you turn it off, that's the reward you're going to get. Veteran 1 through 3, right? So even if you have a gold key, what does that matter? You're going to get a VR1 necklace when you're VR14. So there's some disincentive for it. Personally,
you mean even if you get a gold key, the thing out of the chest is only VR1? Okay.
Right. So the big dogs won't even do that. There's no way to cheese it, and yet if people really just want to complete it and maybe aren't up there, that's an incentive for them. Because why would I bring a VR4 with me from now on if I'm VR14? What's the incentive? Because if I make them the group leader, I'm getting useless gear. If I bring them along to a VR12 instance, they're not going to carry their weight, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. So there's some exclusionary things here. You're going to really need to get a good strong guild, is what it comes down to. You're going to need people that actually group up and are willing to work with people that maybe, are new to grouping or, not super elite, but because the little dinky specs that you've been doing soloing around, I'm sorry, it's not going to cut it in these veteran delves if you're trying to get gold keys. It will not, and you're going to find that out. So it's good and bad. It's going to make us better players in the long run, so I'm all for it. And it breathes fresh life, but I'm just arguing from a different perspective, which is the people that maybe aren't the best, don't have tons of time to do that stuff, and just want to get through the content without maybe the super uber rewards. I think there should be something for them too.
See, and even Kypster said it still completes the daily for the gold reward. I don't know. I'm of the notion, I do want the option for the people who just want to get the Undaunted experience, the little rewards, but there needs to be a a factor to it. And like you said, one of the factors is like the head mount or whatever it is you can get from the bosses only drops based on the level. So of course, if you want a VR14, you have to go in as a VR14 scaled group,
Right.
which is helpful. But how do we stop them from going in? Say they already have the VR14 helm, they did it once, happy day. Now they go in non-scaled, get a gold key, and then open the chest, and they get the shoulder or whatever it is, whatever comes from the chest. There needs to be a checks and balance even to that part. Like finishing the daily doesn't, like people will cheese it like that. They do the VR14 once to get their gear, and then they do dailies.
Well, that's what you can do that right
up.
now. You can do that right now. I mean, so if you ran that dungeon as a VR12 with scaled, which is what I did, I got the max drop for the head. And then I redid it on another character with a VR1 group leader, and I got a VR12 or a VR14 shoulder. So you can already cheese it.
Sure. Yeah, these are some things I think they need to adjust because.
But right now, fundamentally, it's great for the game. It just needs some tuning.
Oh yeah, no, the way it being implemented in the game is fantastic, and it's probably one of the best things. And like we've talked about before, we beat the dead horse like crazy. As much as people hate dailies,
we love dailies.
When they're not there, when they're like, oh, this game's not gonna, like, pre-launch, every game is like, we're doing away with dailies. It's praise to high heaven. Oh, they're breaking out of the box. They're not doing dailies. This is gonna be the best game. And then when they get there, they finish it and they go, there's nothing to do. I don't have anything to do to log in anymore. Yeah, that's what happens.
I've played 70 hours in this week. This game sucks. It fails.
Exactly. Dailies are great for a lot of reasons.
Hey, I already retracted one of my statements. I was upset about all the dailies, but the pledges were fun. They was fun.
And I mean, like you said, what did Kip do as soon as we logged in? You ready for pledges? Like, we already did one. You hop on and people are like, dude, pledge time, let's go.
I got whispered by someone I didn't even know saying, hey, you want to do the Celine's web pledge? I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
And then finally, the risk match the reward in terms of gear, where, doing Veteran Crypt of Hearts, that's going to be a pain in the butt for a lot of people that have not got the gold key or have not done the achievement. But when you get that proc with the meteor and it drops and no one else has it, that's sick. That's the risk reward that we need in this game. Some sick, distinguishable gear that really makes doing the hard stuff worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I maybe got uber lucky and got the thing like the first day, because I haven't seen really any other 2-piece sets around. So
I haven't seen a lot of them either. I've seen a few. Kypster put a couple of them out on Twitter, but I haven't seen a full set yet.
And there's some ridiculous ones, and the animations are cool. I mean, it's not just, oh, you get a little health or whatever. I mean, it pops a droid out, a Dwemer thing. I mean, that's sick. So I can't wait to see the meteor one running around.
Oh yeah. Now here's another thing I wanted to bring up. Specifically the sets, the Undaunted sets. I think I got kind of lucky, or should rather say the East got lucky and gave it all to me. But we got a lot of leather pieces for the Undaunted set. But some of the set bonuses are kind of messed up. Did you notice that? Like one of the ones in particular, it was the first two set bonuses, for 2 and 3 pieces was 73 stamina each. So that's like 147 stamina. The third set bonus was what was it? It was something weird. Oh, it was spell critical. Okay. And then the 4 set bonus added, I forget what the other thing is. 5 set was whenever you do magic attacks, it's a chance to add extra damage to spells. Conversely, and this was on medium armor, or no, it was on, light armor had the stamina one, except for the fact it wanted spell critical, but it was kind of focused towards melee. Then we also got a leather drop that was all magicka based, like first 2 were 73 magicka.
That gives you a point to do it again. I mean, I think those are based, it's random, right? The trait's random.
I've heard traits being random, but this is set bonuses being weird. Like
I thought if it was light or heavy, might have been random too. I may be wrong on that, but
that I hear. And
Yeah, Kypster's
Kypster does
typing.
say it's random. I guess it's kind of interesting, but
So
it was
that
like
gives the trait and the weight is random, meaning gives you more incentive
the
to do it.
set bonus though is weird. That's what I'm talking about. Half the set bonus was saying like even the set bonus was the first two were stamina, the third one was spell critical, and the fourth one was chance on melee hit to add extra physical damage. The next one had two sets of magicka, 4% weapon critical, and then a chance to add like 50 damage to spells. Like the weapon and spell critical was backwards. Like the set bonuses were messed up. I'll have to take a picture of it and send it to you, Delty, so you can maybe get a visual
Well,
of
I
it.
have the sets. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. But I got random drops that would proc different things. I'm not going to use them, so I didn't really pay too much attention to them.
Sure. Well, for me, I was like, oh, that's an awesome set. And then I started looking at them. I'm like, wait a minute, this is just really weird. I mean, I guess I'm okay with random because it does do a point where when you do get that perfect set, you can then, if it's not bound, you just got a marketable item or you can use it.
Yeah, Kypster's saying that it's random. I mean, I think it's great. It gives you something to do. Keep running them. Oh,
Sure.
I got the reinforced. Yes, or I didn't get the whatever I wanted, so.
Okay. Can you scroll back up for a second?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, because I need to see my next topic here. All right. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about with Update 5 before
Oh, yeah.
I go into the next section?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Deltia.
Forward camps.
Ah, gotcha.
First off, I want to apologize if I offend people as far as my strong opinion on this. If you have an opinion on it as well that's, conversely to mine, it's equally as important as mine. So trust me, I don't mean any disrespect when I disagree with people with forward camps. The whole argument with me in forward camps is basically there's no quick way to get in and out of PvP. And for me, the tactical based PvP, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like it. I like one-on-one. There's no siege weapons. There's no secret little thing. I don't like playing Battlefield 4. I don't like vehicles in my games. I don't like that sort of thing. So my perspective is, I don't want that in my game. I want straight up 4v4, 8v8, 3v3, 1v1. Don't care what the odds are. I want to see the team on the other side. I want to queue up for 1 minute, and I want to fight for 10 and be done with it. My team sucks. It's okay, get a new one. Without that in the game, beforehand, I could basically get in a fight, and if I died, it wasn't some super huge problem where I'd have to spend more time riding back than I do fighting. And for everyone that disagrees with me, I brought a team out and I said, let's try the new Cyrodiil and see what you guys think. You tell me how fun this is. We spent more times on our horse riding, and even when we were defending the keep, even when we had 10 people on TeamSpeak, blue and red did team up on us in the same keep and did not attack each other. So I'm not even going to go on that rant either. But what I'm saying, there's no quick solution for PvP and until Imperial City comes out. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of done with it. I'm over it. I just don't like it. It's not fun. It's not quick. It's not fast. It's not my type of game. So I think I don't know. I think there needs to be a compromise with forward camps. If you remove forward camps entirely, great. Strategy. Yay, great. Make maybe the movement speed on the roads faster. Make, I don't know, a random proc where a teleporter comes up and then you can bring a small group, 10 people through or something. Without that, Cyrodiil is huge, big, and sprawling, but I don't want to ride my horse for 5 minutes. And then fight, die, ride my horse for 5 minutes. And then fight, die to 4 snipes, ride my horse for 5 minutes. I'd rather go pick flowers for an hour and at least know what I'm doing, I'm going to get done. So until that's fixed or until there's a small scale PvP battle, I'm pretty much done with it.
Okay. One of the things we were talking about earlier is removal of forward camps. I still would like to see a position that they have predetermined positions for forward camps that you would have to almost conquer and capture that could be closer, but they would be limited so you couldn't place them anywhere. I would like to see that, but
yeah,
it's kind of weird that they want this.
Some compromise. I mean, I think there was some really cheesy mechanics with forward camps. Yes, the trolling camps or whatever. But what happened to the compromise of only Alliance rank 6 can place them? What happened to that compromise? Why was that removed? It might be something we don't know behind the scenes, like maybe it's a graphical thing where they didn't need people to clump up or something. But in its current state, I'm just not having fun. Rather, this sounds so weird. I mean, you gotta realize, I've PvP'd my whole life. Ultima Online, Diablo, the original, Age of Conan, Warhammer Online, every damn MMO we've PvP'd. This is the least fun now I've ever had PvPing, and that's sad. I don't like it.
You have a look on your face, the ace.
Well, because this is coming from the PvPer.
Oh.
So I'm like, the look on my face is, duh, what? That's all.
I don't like it.
Stunned.
It's just I'm stunned too, and it may be a gut overreaction, and I probably am overreacting because I do all the time. And for those of you that do like it, I'd say great, keep doing it. But I'm not going to support it. I'm not going to like it, and I'm not going to shut up about it until there's a compromise or a way I can PvP quick, fast, without stupid weapons and vehicles and stuff, where it's an instance-based thing and I know fair versus fair. I don't like getting ganked by 12 people in stealth. If you like doing that, Cyrodiil's a blast. I don't like doing that. It's just, it's not my playstyle. So I'm going hard on the PvE now. From now on, I'm going hard on it. I love it in this game. So I'm hanging up my PvP until it gets fixed.
Sure.
Deltia needs a hug.
Deltia needs a hug.
Yes.
But here's the thing: as I don't think Deltia is heated with it, because there were people just as heated about having them in the game at all. I mean, let's even Tropos, which I'll throw him out here from Tamriel Foundry, hates forward camps. I bet he was dancing when they said they were removed.
Well,
he was an old school DOAC player, so
we were in TeamSpeak. We were in TeamSpeak talking about it, Tropos and I, yesterday, and he brought up some great points that I hadn't thought of. But then again, the most interesting thing that happened while we were talking is there was a guy in TeamSpeak, I forget his name, so sorry if I butcher your name, but he goes, literally this was a conversation, I've been in this queue for 1 minute, this sucks, I'm going to go play a different game. I swear to God. Think about that guy. Is he playing Elder Scrolls Online? When he has to ride his horse 10 minutes into battle and he's mad about a 1 minute queue? No, right? That's kind of odd. So the people that do like it, maybe like a Tropos and some other really hardcore guilds, or maybe even, you don't have to be hardcore and like that type of thing. I'm arguing this from my perspective in that, let's be realistic. This is America. This is 2014. A lot of people, not everyone, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of people, I guess I am generalizing. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. We do that on the show. We say we don't generalize,
okay,
but we do.
We do. People like things fast. Why is Dota successful? Why is Smite successful? Why is Diablo successful? Why is StarCraft successful? Right? It's quick, it's fast, it's easy. Why is World of Warcraft Arena successful? Click one button, 1 minute, I'm fighting. Boom, I lose. It sucks. Boom, 1 more minute later, I'm back in it. It's a blast.
Maybe I missed this. I don't see how I missed it. Forward cams were completely removed?
Gone. Gandhi. Boom.
If you
everything.
have them, you can still use them, but they only work for like 5 reses, if that, and then they're gone.
Gone.
But isn't that what you wanted, Deltia?
No.
No,
camps.
no. I wanted them to be changed in like the sense that, an Alliance rank 6 could only place them, or maybe they were uber expensive, like, I don't know, 60k AP. So like now I'm earning basically half the AP I was, because I'm not killing as many people because everyone's so afraid to attack. And it's just, travel is a problem. I don't like riding my horse into battle, and if I do ride my horse, I get sniped. And then I have to walk in stealth for like literally 10 minutes. It's just not fun.
Oh, wow. That's...
And go in and try it.
Sucks.
If you don't believe me, go in and try it. If you like stealthing around, it's just the only class I can play and be effective, and people are going to say that's a you problem, and it probably is a Dragon Knight. Because Snipe, why is everyone using it? It has the most range out of any ability in the game. If you're using Destruction Staff or Resto Staff, it doesn't compare to the Snipe, the Focus Aim buff for 5 extra meters. Plus, you get some jewelry with another 5 extra meters. You're looking at 40. You can get another set piece, a 5 piece, you're looking at 45 meters of range. That's what everyone does. So the only class I can play is my Dragonite that has reflective scales, and I just sit there with all light armor and keep casting that so I don't insta-die. I want to play my Nightblade. I want to play my Templar. I want to play, and that's probably a me problem, but it's not fun. I don't want to just use reflective scale light armor Dragonite in PvP to survive, or do a full medium light armor or medium armor sneak, never go out of stealth Nightblade. That's not fun.
But why would you be running around by yourself in Cyrodiil anyway?
Because it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and no one's on to play with. I could usually just go in there, find a quick pickup group of 10 people, and we could get in a battle. If we died, it wasn't a big deal. That's the fun, casual side of PvP that I love. That, 2 in the afternoon, who's playing? It's me. And I don't have that fun where I just, boom, get in there, it's quick and it's fun. Now it's like I have to wait around till there's 12 people in TeamSpeak. Otherwise, I go in there and just die repeatedly.
Okay.
Well, see, how we play Cyrodiil is we do it in a very calculated, because I'm used to the DOAC type play style where when you're doing Cyrodiil, that's what you're doing for the day. Or in that case, Frontiers. But I don't know. See, I'm of the notion that I was glad when forward camps were removed.
But have you been in there since?
I didn't even know they were removed, but I was in the camp of having them be removed.
But have you played it? Have you played it?
Have I? Yes.
Have you played it since they've been removed?
Not since they've been removed.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Try it. It's not fun.
I honestly, whenever I did Cyrodiil, because I did it a lot before, I never used the forward camps anyway. So them being gone to me isn't that big of a deal.
I still played Dark Age of Camelot where there was none whatsoever. So I understand what he says. Like, people are afraid to attack because if you do wipe, it's forever to get back. Well, so people are more calculated. They'll hang at max range and try to figure out how they're going to attack you.
If you do a double snipe with full medium armor Nightblades, you die. There is nothing you can do about it unless you have reflective scales up first. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. If you're on your horse, or if I use a stealth detect pot and my buddy marks you, you're dead. I mean, it's not fun, and it's all out in the open. I just hate it, because I was having so much fun, dude. PvP was a blast. It's just not for me. And I played Warhammer Online. Don't get me wrong. I know all about open world PvP. But then again, it was isolated in zones. You came out of the keep, and 30 seconds later, you were fighting. It wasn't 5 minutes. Cyrodiil is huge, big, sprawling. But that's also one of the problems, is that it takes a while to get in the game.
Sure.
And I'm just going to quit ranting about it. I mean, ultimately, I absolutely adore this game. You guys know that. But in the same instance, I'll be the biggest fanboy, but I also will call something out that I think not everyone else has this opinion, and it's a hard opinion to stand by. If the other big name people out there don't have the same opinion. But I don't care. It's mine. I'm going to stick with it because I believe that it's a mistake.
Well, I agree with that. That's perfectly okay. I mean, like I said, when I went into, not Cyrodiil, but, the Frontiers and Dark Age Camelot, that wasn't I went with a group because that was what we were designed to be. But then again, that game also had battlegrounds.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. But how big was it?
Not near as big.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say that. The Frontiers were split into 3 different sections that you kind of had to quasi-port to. I don't know. Cyrodiil feels massive. It really does. But the Frontiers were very large as well. And the thing with Frontiers was, the best part about Frontiers, the transitive system didn't even exist in that game. It was hard to port around like it is in this one. At least not until they revamped the Frontiers, at least. So it was like what you're experiencing now without the forward camps is what DOAC had at the time, where you literally joined what was called, well, I was a hippie, so it was a frolic group. We frolicked. Yeah, frolicked. The Midgards were Zergs. We were frolicked. And you ran around and took out keeps.
But you call me the hippie.
I was a hippie.
Okay.
Celts, and we called it frolicking. I know, it was kind of weird. But yeah, it was a time investment, because when you got out to a keep, the thing is, DOAC keeps didn't change hands that often, especially not the inner keeps. The ones in Cyrodiil that are close to the mile gate that were easily accessible hardly ever changed hands. People had those for months.
Oh.
The border ones on the outside, they've changed hands, but that's how the game was. It was a little slower pace than what it is now.
Yeah. I want to thank Tamriel Foundry and then also the Guild Ta, the Art of Warfare, for putting on the Grand Melee. I fought in it and got my butt kicked. I think the guy who beat me won the thing, but still, I mean, my build was definitely to fight Zergs, not one-on-one. It showed. But regardless, God, dueling was fun. My God, do they need that in the game. And I don't care if it's friendly duels. We just had a blast with that, and that could be such a huge important thing in this game, even just friendly duels. I mean, we could go on the PTS and make different characters so we could all duel each other in tournaments, and what a great idea. So thanks for putting that on and hosting that. It was a great thing for the community. Keep it up.
I will say, Justice System, man, when that comes out, I think that'll put a lot of the framework in place for friendly dueling.
Yeah,
because it'll have those mechanics and
the
systems
small scale
in place. Yeah, because right now they don't have that in place for friendly.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick around.
They don't have the code in there, but once the Justice System comes out and they implement that code to attack friendly players, I think then you'll start seeing duels and things come, just from a technical side of things. So,
yeah.
Moving on to the next bit, we're going to shift from PvP to PvE. Complaints of experience nerfs.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Yeah, so they changed from veteran points to experience points in Update 5. But I've seen a lot of people complaining about, well, now it even takes me longer than it did before. Because I guess the experience wasn't near as much. In theory, when they first presented to us, they're like, well, this is how much experience it'll take you to hit a veteran rank. It's consistent. It's like 1.4 million. And that's what you need to take every single time. And it should be, in theory, a lot faster than the veteran ranks were. But people are seeing that it's now slower. Much of the grinds people were doing were not yielding as much experience as they were veteran points. They're like, well, now it's even taking me longer.
Yep. Well, you know why? I mean, the reason why is they changed it from vets to experience points, but they didn't adjust what experience points were rewarding. So, like, you kill a mob, it's 200. I kill a boss when it was vet points, it was 37,000, right? So they kind of did a stock split without rewarding more XP. They didn't adjust the price, essentially, is how I take it. I could be completely wrong, but
there was an official post, I think, from Gina, who said that they did notice that this was not intended and they will be fixing. So that's a good thing. So let's talk a little bit before we end our discussion on Update 5. I think it's pretty good because one thing I love with these developers is they have the known issues thread that every time they do a patch, they put out a known issues thread and let us know what they discovered is wrong with the patch and what they're doing and when they think they're going to fix it. First off, some facial animations for NPCs are not functioning properly, and the status, of course, is red, so it means they're investigating. They have a short list of NPC faces that need to be remedied, and they will be addressing it in a future patch. So there's no ETA. Specifically, I don't know, well, I'm sure everyone has. The first girl you talk to for the Undaunted Pledges, her first 3 or 4 lines of dialogue, her mouth doesn't open. Like, at all. Yeah. She talks afterwards, but the first 3 or 4 lines of dialogue that she, for the beginning of the Undaunted Pledges quest just doesn't work. The ability Repentance is causing you to have black blotches on your face and body.
Is that why you look dirty?
I had camo, yeah. Potential fix in 1.5.3, so they got something out there, and it should probably fix it. Probably the biggest thing that almost made me want to quit the game, the emote /lean back coin was not working. I almost quit. I was like, screw this game. And my sub ended yesterday and it wasn't fixed. And I was like, forget it. This game sucks. Failed because /lean back coin did not work. But they actually do have a fix. 1.5.3. Crafting. Dwemer containers within ruins are usually empty. That sucks.
Yeah, but this did not affect Ag because he already got about, I don't know, was it 4 different Dwemer?
3.
Dwemer, what are they called?
3 Dwemer motifs.
Thank you. Yeah,
I got 3
of them. So he's just rolling in the dough. Over there.
Yeah, Kypster was hating me because I'll talk about it a little bit. We went and we were running, and he did it for like 8 hours or something like that and got 3. I think total I was in there for maybe an hour and got 3. So
Random is random.
random is random, but Lady Luck does love me. Alchemy writs are not updating your quest log when you gather the appropriate reagents. Again, they'll be fixing that in 1.5.3. There is a 2 to 3 second delay when starting a craft or to craft certain items. They are working on a fix, but there is no ETA on that. Swapping weapons while in stealth will temporarily break you out of stealth for a moment.
Oh, fail.
They do have a fix, or they say potentially fixed in patch 1.5.3. So that's a yellow status. You can block or dodge roll the healing over time provided from the ability Momentum and its morphs. Yeah, that's kind of weird. They're still working on a fix. There's no ETA. My character literally dodges the heal from Rally. It's funny. My character just all of a sudden will dodge, and it goes, Rally, dodged. It's like, that was a heal. Why did I dodge that? That's kind of funny. You will sometimes fail to transform into a werewolf, but your ultimate will still be used and movement speed decrease. That happened to me a lot. This is likely caused by hitting the cast ultimate key rapidly. Yeah, that's me. They're investigating a fix in the meantime. So, yeah, that's still a problem. That happened to me quite a bit, but I do tap my ultimate
Where
key.
you were like
frantic.
stuck in this
Yeah,
position.
the half morph where half your body is morphed. It's kind of funny looking. Healing Ward appears to be firing its heal when the ability is recast upon you, and they do have a fix for that in 1.5.3. Undaunted pledges completed at silver or gold level are currently rewarding less undaunted reputation than intended. They are fixing that in 1.5.3. So there was a maintenance pretty much like an hour after the servers came back up, because I think Deltia, I saw your tweets on that. You're like, in the game! And it's down. But they did that to fix issues with Dragonstar Arena, Sanctum Ophidia, and the new areas in Craglorn introduced in Update 4. There was an infinite loading screen people were getting, so they had to hotfix that. And they took the servers down for what, like 15, 20 minutes?
It was an hour, actually.
Was it an hour?
I think it was,
Okay.
yeah.
I was at work. I have no sense of time there.
They said 15 minutes. Their ETA was 15 minutes, but it took like an hour.
Sure. Okay. Well, there's currently an issue where you're not gaining as much XP as intended while progressing through veteran ranks. Potential fix in 1.5.3. That's nice. You cannot use ERX to navigate conversations. So it looks like your UI bugs out from time to time. That will be fixed in 1.5.3. Searching through one guild store will display the same items for other guild store merchants. That's kind of weird, and will be fixed in 1.5.3. And the final one, it is taking much longer than intended to form a group using the LFG tool. They are investigating no ETA. I think they talked about that on ESOLive as well. People were in chat were saying, hey, why is it taking so long with the LFG tool? So that's kind of different. I don't really use that because I always just bug Kip.
Never pug. Never,
Yeah,
ever pug.
So, yeah, I abuse Kypster a lot. Love you, Kip. Just so you know. All right, does anyone have anything else they want to say about Update 5 before we move on? This will be the end of the Elder Scrolls discussion.
Everyone has to send Deltia hugs because he ranted a lot today, and I feel like he needs hugs.
It's just, yeah, I mean...
That's the Argonian in you.
No, I mean, come on, let's be real. I've been treated very well by the developers and the community, and, I don't want to be offensive towards anyone if you strongly disagree with me, but at the same time,
That's your opinion.
I know, and I want this game to succeed, and I think that if you had something in there that was quick, nasty, and you could get your hands dirty fighting other people, it's going to be great. Now, with that being said, this update is fantastic. I absolutely love PvE in this game. I never thought I would come to love PvE. It feels chaotic, and that's what I really like about it. It's not just, the tank sits here and does one thing, everyone else has no pressure. Mm-hmm. Everyone has pressure. I love it.
And yet, I hate the chaotic type of fights, though.
I
where
love
there's
it.
no structure.
There's no control. That's PvP. That's why I love it.
Yeah, but in a PvE side point, the thing I like most about ESO is there's still mechanics and stuff that you have to do. Like there's certain things people have to do that it feels like a raid you could plan for. Like, guys, we need you to move here when you're doing this. We need you to pop ultimates now. There's things you can do from the PvE side that doesn't make it feel chaotic, but like you said, it's not a tank holds it and stands here and nothing will ever move off of the tank.
Right, that's lame. Come on.
Yeah.
You sit back 40 meters and no pressure. I'm not doing that ever
Yeah,
again.
she's looking at me. She, like, in WoW, her druid tank, she swiped and was holding 50 mobs on her, and she just stood there.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a rotation.
You still had a rotation, but the tank was literally
A
holding
tank.
40 people.
You had no block
They were
mechanic,
tanking.
no
was-
stamina. You click one button and then you go through your, okay, this procs up for 2 minutes and then this procs up for 15 seconds. And sorry, I just, yeah.
It's what you did.
The
I
short
was
buffs
tanking.
are fun. I like the fact that, like, even our defensive buffs don't last for very long. And there's no set timer. Like, your Dragon Star, or you're not Dragon Star, your banner, which is, we'll say, a defensive debuff, in other games, it was 2 minutes. You used it when you knew a big hit was coming, and then you had, like, 10 seconds, but then it was down for 2 minutes. This is,
So
if you
quick.
do stuff right, you could get ultimate up faster, or if you do stuff wrong, you might not have it for the next time you need it,
And then,
which is kind of neat.
I just, yeah, well, everyone would,
Neat. That's
everyone
frustrating.
macros all their crap anyways. I mean, I had a macro that I click one button, it goes through a series of perfectly timed mechanics, and, oh, guess what, you die, I win. I mean, I didn't like that.
In WoW?
Not WoW, other games.
Okay,
I was a Rift, you could do that.
Let me-
People were doing it in one button.
I never macro. I don't macro anything. I make sure that if I need to press a button, I will press it. Because I should be skilled enough to be able to press all of my buttons while concentrating on the game. So I never macroed anything.
Yeah, well, yeah, unfortunately, I did.
I think, well, I did too, because that was the effective way of doing it. It was the only way you could pull the numbers you needed.
It's the wrong
Yes
way.
to Mr. Bigglesworth ESO. The challenge for tanks in WoW for the latest 2 expansions has been active mitigation, self-healing, etc. Yes, I agree with you.
No.
It's the only game I will ever tank in, because it was just the best experience ever.
No. All right. This is the end of the Elder Scrolls discussion topic. We're going to move on to our favorite section, the Tales. What have we been doing in game this week?
Ooh,
And
can I go
Deltia.
first? Can I go first?
Absolutely, Deltia. You may go
Oh
first.
my god. I feel like I'm a big kid now, like I'm all grown up in this game. So I don't have enough time to really organize guild stuff and do my blog and do podcasting and stuff like that. So I was really searching for a well-organized, good group of people, but had progression on their minds. I mean, PvP, I kind of am out of that stage for now, and so I've been talking with Atropos from Tamriel Foundry, and he kind of invited me along to try out the guild for a while. And so the first night I get on, and they're like, yeah, let's do veteran mode Dragonstar Arena. I'm like, all right, why not? I mean, I've been looking for a group to do this. We got to the final stage. That was pretty cool. We got like 29 lives left, and we reached wave 10 on veteran mode. I was DPSing on my Nightblade, and I have a lot of room to improve on for DPS, and so that's what I'm going to really focus on this week. But wow, that last boss, it's hard. And I was like, why is this harder? They just kept going on and on about how hard it was. I'm like, why is it really harder? You'll see. Okay. It's like, it's mechanics, it's ads, it's fire, it's ultimate drops. It's like, if you screw up one little thing, you're dead. And that was so fun. But in the night, though, I was really tired and I wasn't performing well. So, we got nuked on it. But doing Dragonstar Veteran mode, I went and blew all my Druax. I go, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to focus on. I wanted to try PvE and try to be really, really good at it. And try whether DPSing or tanking or whatever. I'm willing to learn the mechanics. I'm willing to learn the fights. I'm willing to change my build up to be successful on the team. And I'm missing that team thing where everyone gets on and has a real big common goal. And I felt like I had that. And so that was really nice. And, it's hard playing during my play times and stuff, especially if I'm doing guides and whatnot. And so it's going to fit really well on my schedule. I'm going to keep trying to do it. And, trying to progress and see the other aspect of the games I really haven't seen, which is really progression PvE. To be honest, I have never really done it that hardcore. So I'm going to try to do it and see if it's something for me long term to do. I have a bunch of different characters on it, so I'm getting that aspect, and plus I need more credibility for my site and my guides. I mean, I can say I'm really good and do all this really fancy cool stuff, but where's the proof? Ultimately, I need to do the content, right? So for me, it was doing that and rolling with those guys and doing the dailies almost every single day and making some guides, redoing my tanking guide. I was really busy with podcasts and stuff, but just a fantastic weekend game. Just awesome. So it couldn't be any better with getting on the show and playing with the developers. It was humbling. I really liked it.
Excellent. Well, Thais, let's talk about our weekend game. I always ask you, has anything changed on your character?
Not really.
Okay.
But I did add some more skill points to different things. Just because someone was suggesting something, I put a skill point in. I can't remember what it was for. Oh wait, maybe was it nullification?
Oh, the
Negate.
Negate. There we go. And I put it on there because everyone's like, negate, so awesome, negate. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll use negate. So I'm using negate, and Kypster's like, okay, you have to stop using negate. Because apparently I was using it at the wrong time. I'm not sure. So I'm like, you know what?
I think you were using it on single target bosses.
I don't know. Like, whatever.
Yeah, there's like one boss and she's throwing negate on it.
It's because it was the only ultimate on my... Obviously, you can only have one ultimate. And it was the one on my bar. So like, I'm just going to use it whenever it's up. And Kypster's like, you're not helping anything. Just stop. So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to go back to using my Storm Atronach because he's amazing. I love that Atronach so much.
You haven't named him yet?
Oh,
Sparky.
what was his name?
Sparky.
Sparky, that's a good one.
And then I had another one. What was the other one?
That Atronach's cool when it goes in there. And the graphics on that Atronach, come on, tell me that's not amazing when that thing drops. Boosh!
Oh, and
That's
like the
sick.
ground shakes.
Oh,
it's
it's
so
awesome.
epic when he pops
Yeah.
up. That is my favorite ultimate. It really is. Because he does so much. He takes aggro and he does damage and it's just flashy and he's like sparky and cool. I really like him. So, Kypster, she tries. And then, what else did I change? In the one dungeon we were in, normally I don't change any of my skills.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't
Not with
change-
Kypster playing. Not with Kypster at the helm, believe me.
But in the one dungeon, because it was really, really difficult, we'll get into that later, but I was having to switch and try all kinds of different skills until I found something that worked. So every time we died, I was going back to my skill bar, I was pulling this skill off, putting this one on, and like changing everything. So finally, when we were done the dungeon, I'm sitting there thinking, what was my original build? I couldn't remember. It was so frustrating. So yes, that was my character this week.
I see. Well, I adore stamina builds.
Oh.
And I will never fully give up on a stamina build. I won't. However...
Whoa.
No, hold on. I think I can pull some serious damage with a somewhat hybrid build with a two-handed sword if I hybrid in like Vampire's Bane, because that does a lot of damage. It's like a single target spell and a dot. So as long as I keep the dot rolling, I think that will help. I'm not impressed with the damage that Cleave does for AoE.
Carve.
Yeah, Carve. I mean, Ultimate's nice, but they even nerfed that. And they did increase the damage a little bit. The bleed's okay. But to be honest, its damage still isn't on par, so I switched my secondary weapon to Destro Staff.
No! Oh my
Impulse.
God! You're going to the you're an impulse meatball now.
Yeah, for AoE, I'm an impulse meatball.
Oh my God! Crushing
Because
shock!
for single
What?
target, my two-handed sword is sick. I think I can really pull some serious damage, but when there's ads, the carve just doesn't seem to do enough.
You're
So
slowly
I
turning, bro.
switched.
You're slowly turning.
I will never give up that two-handed sword. I'm gonna hold on to it forever. It will always be on my bar. So yes, I went with Impulse, and of course then I also have Blazing Spear and Vampire's Bane on the bar as well. And what was the other spell? Inner Light. And
Whoa.
what was the
You're,
Equilibrium or a heal? If I'm soloing with you, I have the heal on.
so you're
Or
doing
duoing.
you're doing Spell Sim and Mage Light? You're like a big boy now.
Only on my one. I'm still rocking 5 medium armor and 2 light though. That's the thing. Because my main bar is still my two-handed sword.
Oh, I love you, Hag. That's great. You're coming over. Next thing you know, there's gonna be a
No,
double. There's gonna be a
two-handed
double.
sword will always be my secondary bar.
Oh,
It's driving me crazy because people in guild were like, "Oh, come do this," and Ag's like, "No, I can't. My build's not finished." So I had to turn to him and go, "When is your build ever finished? You're always like, it doesn't matter. Just go, because you're always changing something."
I love all the skills in the game, and I can't figure out which ones I want more.
Crushing
The only
shot.
thing I'm really set on is my two-handed sword. I'm determined to keep that going.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
People have been kind of asking me to do the two-handed sword harvester thing. Kind of like what you were doing. My own little version. I can't get it to work, man. I am not having success with it. Carve does not hit hard at all. I mean,
The
300.
bleed's nice, but it's still not enough to really.
You need a bleed on a single target. An AoE bleed with it you're going to keep on spamming. It's a weaker version of Impulse. It's a significant weaker version than Impulse, and I just can't get it to work, man.
Which is why I have an Impulse on my secondary bar, so when there are tons of ads, I swap there and just Impulse spam.
And then Bow is it's nasty for single target damage. In comparison to the two-hander, it's like, I hate it now because the two-hander doesn't do very good AoE and it doesn't do good single target. It's just not viable, it seems like.
Well, I think part of the problem is all the abilities are kind of weird. And I will say this, because Carve, like you said, is a weaker version of Impulse that puts a bleed on targets that don't last that long. Dots are great. That's why I have Vampire's Bane on my two-handed bar, because it's a dot, and it's a long dot, and that's something I would keep up. It's my Magicka spam or whatever the case may be. So while I'm doing the stamina builds with my two-handed sword, I constantly have Vampire's Bane going as a rolling dot. Carve adds a bleed, which, like you said, goes on to ads, which generally should be down in a couple seconds. Because if they last longer than that, your group's probably going to wipe anyway. Wrecking Blow is, I don't know, cast time on an ability. I understand the cast. I almost wish they had a morph for Wrecking Blow, where it's like a PvP morph and not. It adds a cast time if it has a stun, or it makes it instant if it removes the stun that makes it instant.
Well,
I would love it.
It's like a weaker version of Snipe. I mean,
it hits like a freaking truck, but unless you really get the weaving in there, it's
any channels. It's hard to weave. I mean, I can't get it to work, and I know there's someone that's better than me on it, but I'm frustrated because I thought the changes were going to be really good, and I seen on the PTS is like, I'm a two-handed werewolf. I think is going to be able to make it, but I just can't do it.
Well, one of the things we talked about with game sound, pretty much they're like, you have to turn the game sound out. You hear the sound before the animation completes. That's when you can do your weave. That's like, you have to listen for that audio cue, and then you can try to do your weave with that channel attack. I think it would be a pretty nice thing, though, if they would, like I said, make a morph that, remove the stun opponent, but make it instant. Because I can imagine if it were instant stun like that, it probably would be a little OP in PvP. I don't know, maybe. Because you could probably well, then again, it probably still wouldn't be if you could make it instant cast.
The CC mechanic in PvP is terrible. You get 5 seconds of immunity every time you get CC'd, and then snares and mobilizers are on the CC cooldown. So, I mean, what's the CC
so someone couldn't sit there and spam it on you, though, because you would become immune to it.
You just break it, you're CC immune, and so then as long as your stamina regenerates 500 stamina by the time 5 seconds is over, if you literally have 100 stamina regeneration, or about 130, you can basically always be CC immune.
Yeah. it's just one of those things. I think if that being the case, they should just remove the timer or the make it instant for Wrecking Blow, because that's our really only attack that doesn't have a special circumstance to it. That's you can use anywhere, but because of the cast timer, it makes it awkward. But it does hit like Mule. Then again, you have the Executioner or the Reverse Slice, which looks awesome, but doesn't do any real damage until they're under 25%. It's an execute ability. Critical Charge is a charge, that's fine. But because of the minimum range, you can't really... It's a charge mechanic, so you don't use it all that much. Especially in a PvE type fight, while you're on the boss, like standing there damaging him, that ability's not being used. It's not. Rally was interesting. It's a permanent buff, and the heal's nice. That one was a nice change, but there's no other abilities you can just use that are useful, like Crushing Shock, for instance, which is Destruction Staff. I know that's Kypster's go-to.
There's no spammable. There's no spammable one.
There isn't. The only spammable one you could do is Reverse Slice, and that doesn't do any damage until you're under the 25%. You could spam it all day, but you're probably better off just doing light attacks than spamming that ability.
Every other skill line has a spammable, like Poison Arrow on the bow. You have Rapid Strikes on the two-hander, Crushing Shock on the distro. I mean, everything has basically a spammable cast except two-hander.
Exactly. That's I guess their idea is your spammable would have been Carve, but Carve is worthless single target.
It's like a butterfly, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the major thing. And I know they wanted to make Wrecking Blow the bread and butter spammable, but with such a cast time on it, it just doesn't feel good. So hopefully, if they were to remove that cast time, and that's a spammable, I think two-handed would be in a nice spot. Like a really freaking nice spot. But until they do that, it is kind of clunky still. And even so, as an AoE, they do splash damage, which is kind of nice. It still doesn't compare to Impulse. I don't know if Impulse is just too strong.
Impulse is freaky.
Well, it is, because let's talk about that in terms of...
I feel like Impulse with any other staff other than Fire is not... It's nothing to be happy about. It's like...
Yeah.
I disagree.
But no other weapon skill, period. Bow, Resto... Well, not Resto. Resto really shouldn't have damage. They don't have that level of AoE. Like, I don't even think, that Whirling Blades or whatever from dual wield? I don't think that actually does near the damage.
That has very good AoE damage. Very comparable. Yeah, the radius is bigger. I don't think it's capped on AoE like the same mechanic. It's very good.
Okay. Well,
but
bow doesn't have anything.
It doesn't. Why is it really effective? Is because on a fire staff it applies a dot. That dot ticks for 10 seconds on every enemy that it hits. Every tick generates ultimate. That's why you get so much ultimate. That's why magic is better.
I feel like, though, like the actual damage from the attack itself, it just feels like it does more. Because I had an ice staff on and I was using the attack, and like their health just was not budging. I don't know. Maybe it's just because the fire is so much prettier.
No, they do change. They do change. It actually tells you when you look at it. It says with fire does this. It increases critical.
I know that. Yeah. It was just so strange. I actually had to switch back to a lower level fire staff to do more damage than the higher level ice staff.
Yeah. It's just two-handed right now is in a weird predicament where there's no spammable skill to make it a good single target.
If you played a Nightblade double destruction, you would never go back. It is that powerful.
I'm not all about big numbers, though.
Like, what are you about? The PvE, right? Doing damage, right? That's what you're about, right?
I do, but I have to do it in a class.
Oh, yeah,
I was a Retribution Paladin in Warcraft in BC when no one would even take me to do normal dungeons.
I don't know what that means, but cool.
Retribution Paladins were just terrible. They're like seriously,
They're like
go
the
pro.
Templar DPS of Elder Scrolls.
They really were. Maybe that's why I like it so much, because that's what it was back.
You
in
like
the
the
day.
underdog. You like the
I do.
underdog.
I do. I like the underdog, and I like my holy warrior, and I don't want to.
It's a cool class. I really like tanking. It's a beast, man. Healing. Oh my god, Templars are sick healers.
Yeah, I like the type of that Crusader play style. That the holy magic fighter.
Yeah, play what
That's
you like.
what I like. And I don't like it, even aesthetically wise, on the other classes. That's why I plan on sticking with my Templar and just praying for Zos to make the changes. But as I see it right now, as you said, there's no spammable skill other than Wrecking Blow, and with the timer, it just is weird. And the AoE is subpar to Impulse. And, I don't know. There's a lot of things I think Two Hand still...
But it looks so cool.
It does.
It looks
cool.
I'm playing it right now, my Templar two-hander, and it's so fun.
Oh, reverse slash is probably the coolest animation ever for a melee weapon. Like, you spin around, and if you do the one more reverse slice, it
AoE,
creates like a stomp animation. Like, when you hit the ground, dust flies up. It looks really cool. But that's what I'm currently running, because I still am determined not to give up on my two-hander.
Well, I'll give you A for effort. One last comment. When I did PvP, there was nothing like doing a critical rush into a blazing shield, carve their face off, and just nuke them down and stand on top of people. Oh my god, they just got mad. I loved it. Love my two-hander.
Yeah, critical charge is nice for PvP, but I think it has limited in PvP.
Well, actually, I like toppling charge too. We're going off, but...
Yeah, but that's Magicka. So.
Yeah, well, this will be a 7-hour show if we get into stabs versus sticks.
Let's talk about pledges. We did do pledges for the first time. We did VR4 ranked Selene's Web, which was fun and difficult, but not so much so. And then we did Elden Hollow, which was awesome. It was so much fun. We did it with Kypster. I forget who the other person was who went with us.
We had two different people, didn't we? We went to Selene's Web and then
no, same person.
Who was?
Yeah.
I'm sure Kip will remember.
Kip will tell us who it was, and I feel bad that I don't remember their name at the moment. All I remember is that they were a vampire, and the final boss in Elden Hollow...
Arm? Was it Arm?
Arm something or another, yeah. Does all fire damage. For anyone who doesn't know, what he does is he'll randomly kind of rear up and throw fire puddles where anyone was standing.
Will you pet him? He is loving you so much right now.
I love you, Titus. You're such a good Khajiit.
Right, now you can answer.
I was going to say, you can't pet me.
Anyway, so he puts fire damage on the ground, like these puddles that stay, so you have to place them and try to make sure you have enough room as you go along. And then he does a giant jump in the air and stomps, which puts all the fire out, but does massive damage. And, our poor guy, I felt so bad. He was a vampire. He died every time he did a stomp. There was nothing we could do. We finally, somehow or another, made it through, but pretty much every time before a stomp, he was full health. He was bubbled. We had hots rolling on him. There was anything we could do to keep him alive. I think we threw barrier down. He had to have barrier ultimate up just so he could survive this attack. And then he only survived it with 100 hit points at that. He had over 3 grand health, and on my Templar, I was only rocking 2-4 or something like that, and I still made it out with less damage. It was great.
The final boss. Okay. We died so many times. The greatest thing about it is when we finally were able to kill him, because we had Kypster and we had Arm, and it was amazing. The boss was down to about 3%, and we're all pumped that we're gonna get to beat it, and we're so excited, having so much fun, and we're all in TeamSpeak together, and all of a sudden, all we hear is Kypster go, "No!" Because he decided to tank on the edge of the platform. He took one step backward and fell off. He just fell right off the platform.
It was like slow motion. You could see him falling off the cliff going, "No!" It was great.
It was the greatest thing ever.
Kypster, don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't say it.
We love you, Kypster. It was great, but it was like I'd have hated myself if we. It was like 2%, and he falls off, and the boss starts running around, and we're like nuking it, hoping to kill it.
Our vampires running through fire, trying to heal us. Ag and I are trying to like kill the ads that are spawning while trying to do damage to the boss. He's over TeamSpeak, just freaking out. Please, Vito, please! I can't believe I fell off. It was amazing.
Oh, that was great. Oh, we had so much fun doing that.
Did we say we did it on hard mode? We were doing it on hard mode.
We activated the hard mode for the final boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean reading the book? Is that what you mean by hard mode?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, isn't that like it turns on like hard mode?
Yeah, it does the hard mode.
You know what, Deltia? You know what? Sit over there. Sit over there.
In my corner.
Kip, that was like the best thing ever, though. I'll remember that for like ever.
Oh yeah,
because that was great. But little Misty over here, she's so used to playing Final Fantasy XIV, which if you haven't played that when they revamped it, the zones are all caged in. Like, it looks like you can walk further, but you can't because there's invisible walls. So while we're running across this Daedric realm, we're on this bridge. She's like, I'm just going to jump up on the ledge and just run along the ledge, thinking there was an invisible wall that would keep her from falling. There was not.
I jump on the ledge, take one step too far to the right, and I just fall right off the bridge. And I think over TeamSpeak, someone's like, did I just watch her walk off the bridge? Like, yes, you did.
There's no safety mechanic. You literally just fall into oblivion. It was great.
So I was falling to my death. And then Ag did it about 30 minutes later, just walked off the side of the bridge.
I was stealthing around trying to get that stealth attack on the boss, and I turned around and fell off like, oh, I'm done.
The only one who didn't fall off was Arm.
Yeah, but poor Arm kept dying from the fire, so I don't think he wanted to risk dying any other way. He was sitting there like, you should have heard him. It was great. He was like, if I could turn off Vamp right now, I would just drop it. Like right now, I hate it because it was so hard. But yeah, finally after several skill switches and barriers and
me using skills I've never used in my life.
And the best part, none of it was used on the boss. We all used them on Arm to make sure he survived. Oh, great. And then we did a little bit of questing in Rivenspire. Not a whole lot, but there's so many blood fiends in Rivenspire. I love the story of Rivenspire.
My favorite person so far in this entire zone is definitely, what is it, Count Verandus?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Count?
Spoiler, just so everyone knows that we will be talking about this. So, spoiler for the storyline in Rivenspire.
He's amazing to me because I love vampires. I don't know why, I always have. I love vampires. So him, to me, he's an amazing character because he's all about teaching the vampires how to live with humans, how not to be, this terrible monster. And you go to his house, and he has people that, live in his mansion that they feed off of, and, they're okay with it. And then after, the vampires feed, he's like, okay, let them go rest now. They've done their duty, let them go rest. And he has other people that are with him that he's taught how to live this life. And he's just such a good guy, and all he wants to do is help everybody around him. And the one, Khajiit, Adusa, she's a vampire, and in one of the quests you're doing, she's like, oh, you have to help me. I need to go save these people. But wait, actually, you go save the people. I'll just sit here. She keeps changing her mind, making you go do things. But she's a vampire, killing other vampires to save humans. It was just a really cool questing zone.
Mm-hmm. And I guess one last thing we'll touch on here is we came across the guy who was pretty much guilty of genocide. Go ahead, you talk about him.
Both of us are all about, redemption, and if someone is really...
See, I play a holy warrior, see?
And I'm a hippie, I have to love everybody. Well, back in King Rancer's war, this one guy was listening to his king, and when the orcs started attacking, the king wanted him to round up a whole bunch of orcs, innocent orcs.
He essentially was a Nazi concentration camp. He was rounding up anyone who was an orc. And
he was just, slaughtering them if he didn't like the answers that they gave him. And we were told to find this guy and to either, bring him back, alive or dead, didn't matter. But when we meet him, he's telling us how he's just so sorry. And the voice acting for this guy, you could hear in his voice how sorry he felt. And he was like making me cry. He's like, I've tried so hard. I regret everything I did. There's a letter in my pack. I dropped it in a field. Go find the letter. And when you get the letter, it's a thank you letter from this orc headmistress of an orphanage saying like thank you for all the money and the items that you've donated. And he's been scouring the land for orc tomes, like the histories and all these different things, and he's sending them to this orphanage. And as you're reading this letter, you're like, "Oh, this guy." So then you're left with a choice to either turn him in or release him. And both of us decided, he's trying really hard, and he's like giving candy to babies, and he's like helping little old ladies across the street. He definitely deserves to be given another chance. So we had to release him.
Indeed. All right, final thing I guess we'll talk about is lots of Dwemer farming, for me at least. I had a lot of fun with that.
I farmed a bit, but I got Jack.
Yeah, I farmed and got like 3 motifs
You
so
know
far.
what? Shut up.
Lady, even Kypster's like, you are the luckiest man alive.